What up, you fluffy bastards? My name is Liquid Blitz, and today we're going to take a look at Superclass number 7. It's been a while since the last one. This Superclass is called Le Dolphin because it is Le French. I was going to call this class High Roller because of the fact that the primary weapon is the Ribby Roll 1918, but I decided to call it Le Dolphin because playing this class reminds me of an old school FPS phrase, dolphin diving. A long time ago, back before games became more realistic, especially in like Battlefield 2, Call of Duty 4, that sort of time era. In many of these games, you could instantly go prone and shoot more accurately, quickly. This was sometimes called dolphin diving because it literally looks like a dolphin diving to the ground. And this was common. This was really common. This is something that everyone did back then. So the second you saw an enemy, you would drop it like it's hot. And this in turn reminded me of the phrase pussies on the pavement. Anyway, enough being weird. I'm going to go through the class loadout on screen, then I'm going to switch the background to gameplay and discuss the strengths of this class, and then go through some sort of playstyle tips to help you maximize the efficiency of this class. Very technical. Before we even jump into the class loadout, I'm going to straight away give this superclass a 3 out of 3 star rating for difficulty. It's definitely one of the harder classes to play well, but with good skills, and once you get used to it, you can kick absolute arse with it. Right, let's jump straight into the class loadout. I'm going to rattle these off nice and quick, and I'll get into why I've chosen them in the strengths and the tips sections later. First of all, obviously it's called the Dolphin. It's using the Assault class, and that's because the centerpiece of this is the Ribby Roll 1918 Factory, the new French SMG. And as for attachments, these are all vital for this superclass, by the way. It has to be this exact setup. It's got iron sights, 1.5 times magnification, and it does have a bayonet. Usually I don't like bayonets on SMGs, but this class isn't for running about as much as with like the Automatico or the Hellriegel. Because it's got a bipod, as I'll discuss in the tips section later, it's more about staying still more of the time. So it's allowable to have a bayonet on this one. And recoil direction, that's just personal preference. Next, for the handgun, the pistol, we have the C93, which, again, I'll get into a bit later on, but for the attachments, it needs a 1.25 times magnification, and, yeah. If you've got it, the general skin, the general, it looks beautiful, look how shiny and golden it is. Anyway, before we get too weird, let's move on. The 2 equipment slots are anti-tank grenade and AT rocket gun, so we've got a lot of anti-tank power here. And then for the grenade, this is actually a first for all my superclasses. We have the frag grenade / stick grenade. That does more damage than any of the others against infantry. So that's a first. Usually I go with like smoke or incendiary, but no, this time frag. And last but not least, we have the melee weapon. Now, I've selected compact trench knife. That's not the official weapon of this superclass is the nail knife. But because I suck major balls, I've yet to unlock it. And it doesn't help the fact, by the way, that I've come close to unlocking the nail knife twice, and the progress got reset twice. So that really does suck. But the nail knife is the official melee weapon of this class. Until then, if you're like me and you haven't got it yet, use the compact trench knife. But that's it for the class setup. So anyway, let's move on to the strengths. Now, the first strength is a big one as well. It has the highest damage of any automatic weapon in the Assault class, with the same max damage of 23 as the rest, but it has a better minimum damage of 15, so it's slightly, that makes it better at medium and long range, basically. The second strength is also a big one, but simple. It has a bipod, unlike all other Assault weapons, until the Hellriegel defensive drops pretty soon, but other than that, for now, it's the only Assault weapon with a bipod, which obviously greatly increases your accuracy when you put it down. And that extra accuracy, thanks to the bipod, tied with the fact that it has a higher damage than the other assault weapons at medium and long ranges, means that you can be incredibly deadly at medium range with the Ribby Roll, above and beyond all the other assault weapons. This is possibly the longest range assault class you're ever going to make. But I will say, being an assault class, it is very easy sometimes to forget the fact that you have a bipod at all, but it is such a big strength having one. Anyway, more on the bipod in the tips later on. Now, the next strength is to do with the pistol, the handgun. The C93, in my opinion, has the best balance between sort of power and control, sort of fire rate and handling speeds. Because when you think about it, there are those pistols with like really high damage, but they're very slow in reloading and handling speeds and so on. Then you have the opposite, pistols which are sort of speedy, fast and light, easy to control, but they have a weak damage. And then you have those lovely in-betweener pistols with a good balance between the two. And in my opinion, the C93 is one of the best examples of this. It has a good damage, good accuracy, good fire rate, has a large mag size, In fact, I think in the assault class, the C93 actually has the best range out of all the pistols as well, so that's another big plus. So already, halfway through the strengths, we can already tell that this is a very balanced class. Not close range, not long range, not medium range, but sort of good at all ranges, really. Anyway, the next strength is another big deal, and it's one of the biggest pluses of this class specifically. It has a very high anti-vehicle damage sort of maximum. To this day, I still believe that the AT grenades and the AT rocket make the best destructive sort of anti-vehicle combo. I mean, don't get me wrong, dynamite and AT mines are great, but they're very situational. You have to get up close and personal to use those. Whereas the AT grenades and the AT rockets you can use from a great distance half the time. And because you can use them at such greater distances than the AT mine and the dynamite, in my opinion, that makes the grenades and the rockets much more user-friendly. I mean, with this class, take it from me personally, you can single-handedly balls up a tank just with the grenades and the rockets alone. Anyway, more on anti-vehicle in the tip section. Let's move on to the next strength. The next strength is actually sort of the flip side. The fact that you've got 3 grenades total really does maximize your anti-infantry damage as well. The inner radius of the AT grenades were actually decreased in a recent patch, making them slightly worse against infantry. But nevertheless, they are still great to lob at enemies and weaken them, or if you're lucky, outright kill them. And anyway, in addition to those 2 AT grenades, you have the standard high infantry damage frag grenade / stick grenade. This is a fantastic killer grenade. I swear literally like a third of my kills with this class are from the frag grenade alone. I have to confess, until recently, I was all about sort of like smoke and gas and incendiary and even impact grenades. But after making this superclass and playing with it for a few days, I'm getting so many frag grenade kills. It's unreal. It does so much damage. If you throw it towards like multiple enemies, it's almost a guaranteed kill. So yeah, the point here is you can use all these anti-vehicle pieces of equipment against infantry as well, and they're just as effective. And I haven't even mentioned the AT rockets there. I'm just talking about the 3 grenades. Add on 4 like one-shot kill rockets. I mean, seriously, all these anti-vehicle things are just as anti-infantry as they are anti-vehicle. It's odd, but it's a very powerful mix. Anyway, that's it for strengths. I'm sure there's a few that I've missed, but I've covered all the main things, I think. So let's move on to playstyle tips. Tips that will help you sort of make the most of this class. The first tip is important, and it's something I sort of skirted around the edges of talking about earlier. Use the bipod often. It's easy to forget you have a bipod with this class. Use the bipod often, unless you like run round a corner into an enemy. Then going prone and getting your bipod down will just get you killed. So the trick to using the bipod effectively is to displace, i.e. move your position, just as often as you put it down. Keep in mind that if you have your bipod down, like across a surface, whether you're standing, crouching or prone, you are a serious sitting duck waiting to be killed. So if you get a kill or 2, or even if you get no kills, don't stay in one place for too long. That's always the bane of using a bipod, unfortunately. It makes you a piss-easy target, especially for snipers. So don't stay in one place for too long. Get a kill and move to a new position. Get a kill, move to a new position. Keep on moving. Keep on keeping on. I guess that sort of leads on nicely to the next tip, officially. Play smart. Don't use the bipod out in the open. Try and make sure your body is largely covered. Or try to make sure you have some cover to the sides or behind you. Don't. That's a red flag. Don't ever set up your bipod in a position where you don't know what's behind you, or in a position where an enemy could potentially run up behind you. So yeah, that's all that tip is. Try to set it up in smart places and then keep on moving that position. Don't stay in one place too long, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, enough talk about bipods. The next tip, as I alluded to greatly in the strengths, use your AT grenades and rockets against infantry. While your anti-tank equipment is just that, anti-tank, they are nevertheless excellent for using against infantry. The grenades are fantastic for weakening enemies before you shoot them and finish them off. They're great for weakening groups of enemies. They're great to throw into sort of crowded areas. And the rockets, the rockets are accurate enough to snipe with. And the rockets are a one-shot kill if you get them with a direct hit to the body. One-shot kill! I mean, logically, they should be a one-shot kill. It's a fucking rocket. But I mean, in terms of balance, it is very powerful, like. Some may say it's overpowered. Now, the next tip is kind of a loose one, and I'll tell you why in a second. Use your frag/stick grenade on cooldown. Just in case you didn't know, the grenade resupply system completely changed in a recent update. Now, all grenades resupply automatically on a timer, and standing near an ammo crate speeds up that timer by 3 times normal speed. And each type of grenade has its own unique timer. For example, the frag grenade, at the moment, it has a 36-second timer. And stood next to an ammo crate, that 36 is divided by 3 to 12 seconds. And 12 seconds for a frag grenade is retardedly fast. But the timers... The grenade system is not finalized. It's in the main game at the moment, but they don't like it. I don't. I hate the current system. And it looks like they're going to be changing it soon. Either they're going to completely do away with the timers soon, or they're going to alter the timers to make them longer and make them harder to resupply. Either way, take this tip with a grain of salt, because the grenade resupply system, even though it has just changed to what I've just described, there's a good chance it's going to change again to something else. But for now, since the current system is that they resupply automatically on a pretty quick timer, I suggest that you make the most of it and you use your grenades on cooldown. So the second you get another grenade, throw it. I mean, it's as simple as that. I feel dirty. I feel dirty suggesting that because I hate this resupply system. But this tip is just about being efficient and maximizing your impact against infantry. And the frag grenades are so powerful, you want to be using them on cooldown. So the moral of this story is keep an eye on your grenade count in the bottom right, and as soon as you see a little 1 there, as soon as you see a new grenade, loose towards the enemy. To add to the grenade topic, I've got another tip, and the last tip for this video, and that is to open combat with your frag grenade rather than your main gun. When you run into an enemy and you start the dance of death and you start taking pot shots at one another, I would personally suggest you actually open the fight with your grenade. If you've got a bit of cover to help you, I would throw your grenade before you even start shooting. If you're lucky, you will just kill them outright, but you will have to be lucky there. But the main aim is to weaken the crap out of your enemy, so if you don't kill them, all it takes is a couple of bullets to finish them off. It's so much easier to kill a half-health enemy than it is a full-health enemy. So not only, I would suggest use your grenades on cooldown, but I'd say open combat with it too. Open the one-on-one fights with the grenade as well. And the same goes for the AT grenades, by the way. With this superclass, I've often found myself throwing all 3 grenades before I start even using my gun. It's a fantastic play style. Anyway, that's it for this video. I'm done. That's all the strengths and the tips I can think of. Now, I'm sure there's a bunch of shit that I've missed. But anyway, let's quickly summarize this before I leave the video there. Summary! It has the highest damage primary weapon of the assault class, not including shotguns. It has a bipod to enable high accuracy, but only when it's safe to do so. The trick to using the bipod is to play smart with it and keep moving. Next, it has a well-rounded pistol with a sort of an equal balance between power and usability. This class has a massive anti-tank capability in any situation because it has the 2 pieces of anti-tank equipment that you can use from a distance. And that is a major strength, seriously, don't underestimate that fact. Next, the equipment, while anti-tank, happens to be very effective against infantry as well. So this class not only does massive, in fact possibly the most anti-vehicle damage, it does massive damage to infantry as well, with 2 AT grenades, 4 AT rockets, and a frag grenade, the most powerful grenade on top of that. It's just an awesome all-round high damage class against anything. This class is an all-round beast of a class when played properly, and once you get used to the primary weapon, and I will admit, that's not easy. The Ribby Roll is not an easy weapon to get used to, because of its slow fire rate and high vertical recoil. But once you do get used to them, and you do get used to them once you play enough with it, and you sort of naturally learn to minimize those weaknesses, and it literally becomes a hand cannon! So I will finish this video by concluding that, as I said at the beginning, 3 out of 3 stars for difficulty and getting used to the weapon. But to me, right, okay, this is my personal opinion. This class, to me, it's one of those classes where... Okay, do you know those classes where when you play really well with them, it feels like you're playing really well and it feels positive and good? This is not one of those classes. This is one of those classes where even when you play well, it strangely feels like you played shit. Does that make sense? There are some classes you play well, you feel like you've played really well. Then the harder to use classes where you at the end of the game you might have like 40 kills and 15 deaths. That's a really good score, but it feels strangely like you played shit. This is one of those hard to use and hard to satisfy classes. I mean, that's sort of the truth of it. I've played really well with this class. I mean, I think yesterday I got like 50 kills and 12 deaths. Oh, that was a really good score. And I'm honestly not that... Any of the people on Origin who have added me and played with me know I'm actually not that good. I know I shit on myself a lot, but the truth is I'm not that bad. I'm pretty good, but I'm not excellent. And I've got excellent scores with this class, despite the fact it's hard to use. So clearly this class has massive potential. I think that's the word I'm after. It has huge potential, depending on your personal skill. And I haven't reached that potential yet. So I hope you have fun with this class. If you don't like the Ribby rule, or you've barely used it, don't get put off if you play shit with it for a few games. Like the other French weapons, the Ribby rule, it takes a lot of getting used to. The slow fire rate and high damage, it's a mix that is hard to get used to for any player. But I'll leave it there before I dribble on too much. Like this video if you liked it, like this video if you didn't like it, and join me in my next video. Next video, I'm not entirely sure. Before I did all my French DLC weapon analyses, I was making a best medic weapon video, which has like awards in it, like best overall medic weapon, most underrated medic weapon, etc, etc. Best high skill medic weapon. I might get back onto that for the next video, or I might not. Anyway, the beard doth thank you for watching this video.